how you doing? This is TV and School. Вивчаємо з тобою ми англійську. How are you? Що скажеш, коли ти зустрінеш якогось іноземця? So, let's speak English. Англійська мова Шекспіра та нью-йоркських таксистів. Англійська стане у нагоді вам, бойські дівчиська.
Hello guys, my name is Natalia Ляшко. It's time for English lesson. Let's start. So, today we continue talking about reading and let's revise some grammar. I ask you to play a sea battle game, so let's start with a task. I will ask you to write down the sentences in passive voice where you can see the cross. For example, a lunch, cook. You write down a sentence, a lunch is cooked, or a lunch was cooked. I give you 15 seconds. Write the sentences down, and then we'll check together. Okay, ready to check? Let's go. So let's start with the first word, a story, and we have the verb write. Let's write down the sentence. A story is written. Bravo. Let's write it down. And in the past, a story was written. Bravo. Let's write it down as well. Good. Now I want you to focus and make these sentences negative. So let's start with the first one. A story isn't written. Well done. A second one. A story wasn't written. Can you make questions, please? Is a story written? And in the past, was a story written? Well done. Let's move on. The next is a banana. So, the present, a banana is peeled. Well done. And in the past, now let's go with negative sentences. A banana isn't peeled. A banana wasn't peeled. Questions? Is a banana peeled? Was a banana peeled? Correct. Let's move on. A present. Can you help me with the sentence? A present is given. Well done. And in the past, a present was given. Good. Let's go with the negative forms. A present isn't given. A present wasn't given. Well done. Questions? Is a present given? Was a present given? Thank you. Let's move on. We have a cake. A cake is baked. Let's go. And in the past, a cake was baked. Now, let's make it negative. A cake isn't baked. A cake wasn't baked. Well done. Questions? Is a cake baked? Was a cake baked? Well done. What is next? A book. Let's go with the book. A book. What is with the book? A book is written. And in the past, a book was written. Now, let's make these sentences in plural form. For example, books. Books are written, and in the past, books were written. Well done. Let's move on. We have a lunch. And in the past, a lunch was cooked. Now listen to me and find a mistake. A lunch were cooked. No, a lunch was cooked. Listen again. A lunch aren't cooked. No, a lunch isn't cooked. Well done. And the last sentence, a car. A car is washed. And in the past, a car was washed. Now let's make this in plural. Cars are washed, correct. And in the past, cars were washed. Thank you very much. Now let's move on. Let's go with a quick test. Have a look. Quiz time. So sentence number 1. The game was buy by my mom. Correct? No, it's not correct. So, the game was bought by my mom. Yes, we need the past participle or the third form of the verb. Was bought. Let's repeat together. The game was bought by my mom. And again, the game was bought by my mom. Well done. Next sentence. The car is washed every day. Yes, this is correct. And have a look at number 3. The test was written by the students. No, there is a mistake. What's the mistake? Yes, the verb to be. We have tests. This is plural. So, the tests were written by the students. And let's say together, the tests were written by the students. And again, the tests were written by the students. Well done. So we move on, and today we'll talk about drama. Have a look at the text and guess who is the famous author here. So let's check. The words like Romeo and Juliet probably helped you. We're talking about William Shakespeare. And let me open the words. So you have the text. And we're going to answer these questions. Shakespeare acted in the plays he wrote. True or false? Romeo and Juliet has an unhappy ending. True or false? Number 3, Shakespeare's plays were only for people who had money. True or false? And number 4, Shakespeare died in a fire. Now let's read together. You see the text on your screen and I'm going to read to you. So let's follow the lines. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon in northwest England. When he grew up, he left his home to learn acting in London. But Shakespeare was not a talented actor, so he quit acting to write plays instead. Many of his plays were performed in the Globe, a new theatre in London. The rulers of England during his life were Queen Elizabeth I and King James I. Both of them really liked going to the theatre, so Shakespeare received lots of money for his plays. Shakespeare wrote 38 plays. He wrote both comedies and tragedies. His comedies, like A Midsummer Night's Dream, had happy endings, and his tragedies, like Romeo and Juliet, had sad endings. He also wrote plays about kings and queens from history, like Julius Caesar and Henry V. Both rich and poor people in London loved Shakespeare's plays. In 1613, the Globe Theatre burned down, so Shakespeare decided to retire. He went back to his hometown in Stratford-upon-Avon and died in 1616. He was only 52. Now, let's answer the questions. So, number 1. Shakespeare acted in the plays he wrote. True or false? What do you think? The correct answer is false. So let's find this information in the text. This is paragraph number 1. Have a look. So he quit acting to write plays instead. So he didn't act in his own plays. He was writing his plays. Number 2. Romeo and Juliet has an unhappy ending. So Romeo and Juliet, is it a comedy or a tragedy? A tragedy. And happy ending or unhappy ending? Yes, this is true. Unhappy ending or sad ending? Let's find the information in the text. This is paragraph number 3. Bravo. Romeo and Juliet had sad endings. And the word sad, this is the same as unhappy. Let's move on. Number 3. Shakespeare's plays were only for people who had money. Had money, what does it mean? Are they rich or poor? Had money, this is probably for rich people. So, what do you think about this sentence? True or false? This is false. Find the information in the text. And this is paragraph number 3 as well. Yes, both rich and poor people in London loved Shakespeare's plays. So let's go with the last one. Shakespeare died in a fire. True or false? False. So which information is connected with the fire? Yes, the Globe Theatre burned down, so Shakespeare didn't die in a fire. Let's find the information in the last paragraph. Yes, he died in his home. And how old was he? 52. Thank you very much. So, let's have a look at the text again. We have some sentences and passive voice. For example, the first sentence. William Shakespeare was born in 1564. Or this sentence. Many of his plays were performed in the Globe. So let's paraphrase some sentences and make them in the passive. For example, Shakespeare wrote 38 plays. Can you make it in the passive? Let's go. 38 plays in the past were written by Shakespeare. Let's write it down. "38 plays were written by Shakespeare." Can you make this negative, please? 38 plays were not written. And the question, please, were 38 plays written by Shakespeare? Okay. So, a question, positive sentence, and negative. Let's move on. Let's find more sentences in the text. For example, he wrote both comedies and tragedies. Let's paraphrase it and make it in the passive. So the passive and positive sentence. Comedies and tragedies, yes, were written by Shakespeare. Let's go with a negative. Comedies and tragedies were not written. Well done. And the question? Were comedies and tragedies written by Shakespeare? Well done. Let's move on. For example, let's take Romeo and Juliet. And I give you 10 seconds, write down 3 sentences. Positive, negative, and question. 10 seconds. Now let's check. So, Romeo and Juliet was written by Shakespeare. The negative, Romeo and Juliet wasn't written by Shakespeare. And the question, was Romeo and Juliet written by Shakespeare? Well done. So, have a look at this sentence. Shakespeare received lots of money for his plays. Let's make it in the passive. So, lots of money was received by Shakespeare. Again, lots of money was received by Shakespeare. So let's write down together. Let's make it negative. Lots of money wasn't received by Shakespeare. And let's make a question. Was lots of money received by Shakespeare? Well done. So, again, let's have a look at the text and find useful phrases here. So, he was not a talented actor. Talented actor. This is a nice combination. Have a look at this sentence. His comedies, like A Midsummer Night's Dream, had happy endings. Again, comedies means happy endings. What else do we use with comedies? For example, we laughed a lot while watching comedies. And let's go with tragedies, like Romeo and Juliet had sad endings or unhappy endings, as we had in the question. What else? So, both rich and poor people, this is very important for us. And let's revise the dates. When was William Shakespeare born? Good, in 1564. When did he die? In 1616. Well done. So what happened to the Globe Theatre? It burned down. And when did it happen? In 1613. Well done. So, let's move on. I would like you to read the passage and guess the famous play of Shakespeare. Is it a comedy or a tragedy? And try to guess the name. It was mentioned in the text. So, I give you 10 seconds to read. Yes, you are absolutely right. This is Romeo and Juliet. From the very first line, you can guess it. Oh, Romeo, Romeo. So, Romeo and Juliet is a very famous play, and this is a very famous love story. It was filmed many, many times. We have a lot of versions of it. The latest one, you can see the picture of it in the right. And it was also filmed with DiCaprio. So have you watched the movie? You can watch the movies at home and, of course, in English and enjoy it. Now, since it is a love story, I want you to describe the word love. When we have a love story, so what do we expect in the play, in the movie, or in the story, in the book? So, as it was mentioned, let's have a look like this. Let's draw a big heart. As it was mentioned in the text, we had happy endings and sad endings. In Romeo and Juliet, what was the ending? Sad, yes. So, sad ending is possible. But do we have love stories with happy endings? Of course we do. What else? So, this can be romantic. A lot of romance in the story. Well done. Probably a kiss. What else? A date. I would write flowers. Have you ever had the first date? So, let's go with a quick test. Let's go with the first question. Have a look. Shakespeare was born in 1613. Is it correct? No, it's not. What happened in 1613? Yes, the Globe Theatre burned down. So, let's correct the sentence. Shakespeare was born in 1564. Well done. Let's go with the second one. Shakespeare wrote 38 plays. Correct? Yes, correct. And the last one. Name famous Shakespeare's plays. Do you remember any? Romeo and Juliet, well done. What else? A Midsummer Night Dream. Well done. Henry V. Okay. So, if you don't remember, rewind the video back to the text and read it again. Or you can also Google some names. Now, your homework. For the next time, I would like you to write about the famous playwright here in Ukraine. And please follow the frame. Have a look. He or she was from, and you mentioned the city. Also, you write the date when the person was born, and you mentioned some of the famous plays, and you tell a bit of this story. And please mention the day of the death. And this is going to be your homework. I hear the bell ringing, and it means that we need to stop the lesson. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye!